just starting up a new little thing here. We're going to call it God, Guns, and Glencairns. So we have 5 of us total here tonight, and we just want to just kind of have a little get together and talk about the Bible, talk about Jesus, talk about guns, and talk about some whiskey. So,
amen to that.
Yeah, it's going to be hopefully a fun, interesting night, and hopefully we'll all leave with something. So let's start off first with a little prayer. So it's just, Father, just thank you so much for this time when we can get together and just dig into your word. And I just pray that something would jump out at us that would help us to be men, to be the men you wanted us to be, that we could be examples in the future for others, just how to live a life pleasing in your sight, to serve you. And we just ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So what we decided to do was go to Luke 22 tonight. And what we're going to do is just one of us will start reading a verse, and we're just going to go around the table, and each of us can read a verse.
Mm-hmm.
And the ground rules is that if there's anything in there that you don't understand or something jumps out or you want to talk about it, not that any of us are going to have the answers, but maybe we can find it in the scripture. Just yell stop and let's talk about that verse. Mm-hmm. And so with other than that, we don't want, we just don't want one person to dominate. We want to give everybody a chance to talk, and we just want to just get into the word, and hopefully something will jump out at us. So I can start, and then we'll just go around the table there. But so Luke 22, talking about the disciples arguing about their greatness. And so verse 24 says, now there was also a dispute among them as to which of them should be considered the greatest.
And he said to them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and those who exercise authority over them are called benefactors.
But ye should not be so, but he has that greatest among you, let him be as that younger, and he that is chief as he that doth serve.
For who is greater, he who sits at the table or he who serves? Is it not he who sits at the table? Yet I am among you as one who serves.
Stop.
So that verse, yeah.
Yep.
What do you got?
I was just going to throw out there that right there in that verse tells you that not one man is greater than another.
Correct.
And if the one who's out there doing the work is just as important as the man sitting in the fat couch on the inside the home or supervising
in all walks of life, right?
Correct.
Like, it does not matter from the guy rolling the Mercedes to the guy sitting on the street corner.
Yep. Mm-hmm. From white collar to blue collar, it does not matter. All men is equal.
What's the common statement now? The business owner versus the janitor.
Mm-hmm.
You always shake everybody's hand. Doesn't matter regardless.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. Yep.
I always think of this though, wouldn't that be great to be the king, sitting at the table and to be served?
Right.
Hey, I'm better than all you guys. Serve me.
Right.
There's also value to a direct purpose as well.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think if you're sitting at the top doing nothing, it's almost like the question's always asked, what do I do today? What's the goal? What mess is going to come up? You know, who can I trust? Who can I not? Whereas the guy that knows, he shows up, gets the deer, slaughters it, quarters it, whatever, serves it, brings it to supper to the table. He's got a direct purpose. There's no question, and he sees the fruits of his labor.
Yeah.
I think there's value in that. Maybe it's just my past life, but I think there's value in that.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I like that where it says that this is Jesus talking, yet I am among you as the one who serves.
Mm-hmm.
That he is the lowest. He doesn't put himself above anybody. He's peacemaker.
Exactly.
And he's setting an example for us.
Yeah.
And how we need to be servants and how we need to serve. There's so many places in life.
Yeah.
To where you can serve.
Yeah, in any aspect too.
Mm-hmm.
Work, play, everything.
I think that could also go to don't think of yourself too highly as to lend a hand, even if it's the dirtiest work that you can find.
Yeah, it's another representation of humility.
Yes.
Yep.
That's Sophisticated way to say it.
Well, I had a chance to boil it down while you were saying it, so yes, I got a chance at it. Softball hit it.
Hey, I forgot to introduce us.
Oh yeah, look at that.
We better start around the table here. This is Mitch, and we have Rich, myself, I'm Dean.
I'm Colton.
And I'm Jared.
So there we go. Sorry about that, guys, but now you know.
No one's half the battle. You guys go.
All right.
It's a real
Number
PSA here.
28.
Number 28, right? But you are those who have continued with me in my trials.
And I bestow upon you a kingdom, just as my Father bestowed upon me.
That you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat.
But I have prayed for you, that your faith should not fail, and when you are returning to me, strengthen your brethren.
Strengthen your brethren.
Strengthen
Yes.
your brethren.
That reminds me of Proverbs. Iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
Men sharpens men.
Mm-hmm.
And also to bear each other's burdens.
Mm-hmm.
And
Strength is in your brethren, right? Like we always look for somebody that like-minded,
Yes.
stronger, holding people together. Like
Mhm.
like-minded people stay together, build stronger
Mhm.
together, right?
Mm-hmm.
33.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
But he said to him, Lord, I am ready to go with you, both to prison and to death.
Ooh, that's a strong one.
yeah. And then he said, Peter, or I tell you, Peter, the rooster shall not crow this day before you. You will deny me 3 times that you know me. That's Peter. He's the rock. He's the rock of the 12 disciples.
Yeah.
You know, and Jesus can see this in him.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, when it gets right down to the nitty gritty.
Wasn't it Cephas the other day? That rock?
Yeah, Cephas.
stone?
Yeah, in Hebrew or
Yeah.
Greek or something.
Yeah,
we read
Cephas
it
meant
on
stone.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Cephas, yep.
Yeah, the rock. So, but Peter was the rock of the 12 disciples, and now, and he was the one everybody, I think, kind of looked up to. And now when it gets down to the nitty gritty, he's going to back out a little bit.
But.
Yeah. My turn.
It is.
Okay, 35. And he said to them, when I send you without money bag, knapsack, and sandals, did you lack anything? So they said nothing.
So that means essentially that even though, like, Jesus will provide for you what you need. Like, he did not send him with anything, right?
Right.
No money, no nothing.
Just the clothes on his back and walk out.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
So God will provide you with what you need. But I think that if we go deeper into this, I think that what a lot of people think is that it takes self to get you where you want to be. That's
Self, strength, and trust, right? Faith and same thing. It's like you have to have faith in yourself to be able to go out there and do that.
Absolutely.
And to be able to spread the word, right? It doesn't matter anything that you're doing. You have to, if you don't believe in yourself, and where does that self strength come from, right? The belief in the rock that you're actually standing upon.
Mm-hmm.
So
I use this one a lot because you gotta, if you walk with nothing, you can't do it with your head down staring at the stones you're about to step on. You have to keep your head up and your eyes open and be aware for the doors that he opens for you, the options that he gives you, right? So, you know, if he's going to give you gifts, you got to be ready to receive them. So you can't just walk around staring at the ground. You got to have your head up with strength and belief and faith and go.
Yeah.
And watch the doors open and watch the opportunities come and then take them.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one. Jared, you want to come to this? Yep. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Right? Like the gut says go. If the door's open, take it.
how I ended up in Wyoming, right? Like I've been to Alaska, from Washington State to Alaska to New Zealand to now to Wyoming. And I was like, this is where I was meant to be. It's just like, it's being able to, I didn't know what that was at the time, right? Like it just looking at it, be like, I thought it was just luck or just shiny quarter. You know what I mean? But now it's just squirrel. It's just one of those things. Like now I know where I'm supposed to be and where you feel comfort at, like every spot. Like you sit back, if you push through, you're going to miss a lot of things.
Oh, for sure.
Head down, right? That same thing as pull horse, right? It's going to pull it just rolling forward and rolling. But if your head's not up and you're not actually looking out to where he's going, you have to be guiding. And what's that guiding? Is
Well,
that Jesus guiding us? Like, what's
Mm.
God guiding us? It's
This reminds me of a story that a man once said about a tree covered in moss. Sometimes we don't always see what is right in front of us. Sometimes it takes us a few weeks to finally open our eyes and see what it was.
I was looking at this a different way. There's like moss on the tree, and then you step on it, and sometimes you're going to bust your butt. The other times you're going to stand up, and
Sometimes it will protect you from the rain.
The tree was dead.
Yep.
The tree was dead.
This
and covered
was
with moss.
this man's story. That's
Yeah, it's
why.
had a story. So walking through the
But it was
mountains, I'll
perfect.
share this story a little bit. I was
Yeah,
walking
do it.
through the mountains, and it started raining on us, me and another guy. Was my son-in-law.
Mhm.
And we're looking for protection. And I jumped underneath a tree, and I noticed he was getting wet. And I looked up, and I was dry. And I looked up at the tree that I was under, and it was a dead tree, and it was covered with moss.
Mhm.
And and then he was out there amongst those live trees, and he was getting wet. It was them live trees. It was those trees that wanted to be somebody, sucked all the life out of that one tree and killed it.
Yep.
And it was there in that middle of that forest protecting me from that rain. So look at Jesus. And what did Jesus do for us? He died, and protected us and gave us the opportunity we have now. So
I saw an opening for that.
nailed it.
And I just had to swing with it because that story, honestly, like it just makes so much sense because we don't always see the doors that are opening for us. We don't until a few weeks or even a month or a year later, we're like, wait a minute.
That was
what was supposed to happen. And I needed to take that turn or I needed to sit in that spot. But we never open our eyes soon enough as humans or as people in general because we're too fixated on what else is happening.
I would argue that point slightly. You use the word never there.
Well,
and I think all of us at the table can look back in our past and see a myriad of things we can be thankful for, which were all open doors.
Yes.
So maybe we didn't recognize them at first.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
Or you weren't meant to take that path.
Yeah.
It's just there's certain things I could have done 20 different things in my life, but none of them would have led me to here except only one.
Mm-hmm.
That's I'm meant to walk down one path. It's one path.
Your prayers were answered, and you didn't know you was praying.
That's it.
100%.
He knows your heart, right? Yeah. So.
Okay, who's up for verse 36?
I think it's me.
Yeah.
Then he said to them, but now he who has a money bag, let him take it, and likewise a knapsack, and he who has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one.
Stop. What would Jesus have said if they had had guns?
Right. That's a great question.
I believe Jesus would have said, sell your garments and buy a gun.
Yeah.
I think he would.
More than likely.
But because technically, I mean, that a gun or a pistol or a rifle, a muzzle loader is all a sword.
Well, it's all self-defense until it's time to go to war.
Yeah.
Or it's time to do battle, right? Like there's no defense. What did they have? Arrows, spears, swords,
Stones.
Stones.
Right?
Can you imagine getting walking through the stone getting stoned, man? I couldn't. Ooh. I'll take a bullet. Give me that bullet.
A well-placed bullet.
Yes.
I've had not well-placed bullets, so yeah.
Did you want to go more into that, Dean, or you just want to stop?
No, I just wanted to mention guns.
Oh, okay.
I think about that a lot. When they was building that wall, and he told them, "Hey, you're going to build the wall with one hand, and you're going to have a sword in another. You're protecting yourself at all times because the enemy was wanting in so bad.
You're building it. You're building some defense. You're building your shelter, and you're ready to defend it.
Yeah.
Right. That's almost everything. When everybody from working yourself up from when you're younger, and you're building up, you're getting your car, you're getting your house, you're building your family. That's all under the same lines, I would think.
Did you want to stop at 37 or finish 37?
We're going through 38.
38. Okay. Yeah. For I say unto you that this that is written must ye be accomplished in me, and he was reckoned amongst the transgressors. For the things concerning me have an end.
So they said, Lord, look, here are 2 swords. And he said to them, it is enough.
So we need 2 guns.
2 guns. We got 2 guns. I think what he was. I think that Jesus wasn't talking about the swords being enough. I think he was tired of the language.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you guys, we're not gonna get swords. We're not gonna want to use them. They need to be on you for protection, but let's stop the talk.
Getting them out of a war mindset type thing.
For sure.
And that's the same thing, just like firearm.
It's
I
a tool.
hope I never have to use one
It is a tool.
for the purpose of self-protection.
It's a chunk of metal until it's put into the right hands for the right reasons, right?
Mhm.
Same reasons, same things happen to get into the wrong hands, and they do bad things.
Yeah,
with them,
they
right?
don't do nothing on their own.
It's all in the person. It's not the gun. It's not the piece of metal. It's not the
Mhm.
paper, whatever that does it.
Or the bottle. You could even go as far as and the bottle.
Right.
Correct. It's all in the person that's holding it. You could take the words from this that we're reading right now, and they could be turned.
Oh,
And many people have
100%.
turned it to make it
Fit
fit their
self.
Mhm.
Yeah.
itself,
Fit
right?
themselves. Instead of just living by the Bible, we want to live for self. We need to repent.
Mm.
We need to turn.
Mm-hmm.
And in everything we do, we need to do for Jesus.
Mm. It's hard though, because just coming from some personal stuff, like grudges are really easy for me to be able to hold,
As well.
and I have no problem holding them and or forcing people out of my life that I don't believe it needs to be in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know God says, "Forgive thy brother 77 times." I tell you. Well, I'm here to tell you what.
I'm going to tell you a little story. I got another story.
Okay, let's hear it.
I like stories.
I was through the business.
Yeah.
Had a fellow that was buying a lot of product from me, and I thought I could trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Found out that at that time I shouldn't have, and he wrapped up quite a debt. And it was a debt big enough that I was sending him to collections
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and he had me so worked up, and I don't know if that was his whole intent or not, but he had me so worked up that when I would go to church, the pastor we had would always say, "Leave your troubles at home, leave your problems at home, come with us today and worship."
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. And I was in church one morning, and I was sitting there, and he got up and he said that again, and so I prayed, "Father, tell me what to do." And I kid you not, if I had hair on the top of my head, it would have stood up, because I had a feeling that went through my whole body. Just
Like
sitting
electricity.
there. Oh my goodness. It was just like a flooding. It was an experience. I can't explain it.
Right.
But it was a feeling that and the hairs on my toes stood up too at the end of it. And at the end of it was the thought that came to my mind was, forgive him. That had to come from the Holy Spirit. That had to come from God. And I had so much relief. The rest of that service was a very enjoyable service, and I couldn't wait till the next morning to call that man.
Really?
And say, if you feel like you don't owe me anything, then we're done. I'll forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll forgive you your debt right now. And he started bringing stuff back to me and paid off his debt and said, "Are we good?" And I said, "Yes, we are." I wanted to be able to walk down the street and meet him and shake his hand.
You were his door.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yep.
He took the open door to do the right thing.
But that morning was so beneficial to me in forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I have, from that day forward, if I have done anybody wrong, I want them to tell me so that I could ask forgiveness for what I did them wrong. And if they've done something wrong to me, I want to let them know about it, and I would forgive them of where they wronged me.
Man, that's
Dean, I hope I'm like with Colton. I was like, I hold on stuff and chew it like a dog holding a bone until I never forget it. And I was like, I always hold it. And I was like, that's a very heavy thing to hold.
It is.
But I was like, for the people that walk with me in the same way and keep walking, then I just different roads. I'll be like, hey, I don't need you in my life. I was like, but cut them out. But do I ever forgive them? No. I will still think about them later on. And I was like, that's just part of spaces in my mind that I didn't need to keep.
It's really hard.
Of.
It's really, really hard to say, I forgive what you've done to me. Like whether it's money or whether it's hurtfulness, or you have done the absolute worst to me, that it's so hard. I'm like an old Black Angus. I don't forget nothing.
I was going to say a mule or a donkey.
No, Black Angus, man, they don't.
I mean, given the size, I was going elephant.
Dang, bro.
Yeah, you're just a big fella. You're full grown. That's all. That's all.
It's just like I can hold the grudge, and it's so hard for me to just let go. Like I just want to tell you, Dean, that is extremely, extremely big of you. And
It wasn't me.
Well, maybe not have been you, but I can tell you right
It's
now,
your shoes that I was putting.
that's right. It's your toe hair that raised up, not. It's just remarkable that you were able to forgive
That much.
Yes.
Well,
And I think that's pretty little compared to what some people have to forgive.
Sure.
oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I know in my family specifically, both on my side and my wife's side, we're all alone out here, blood family wise.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got family out west and I've got family out east, and it's just us here. So there's a lot of opportunity for forgiveness in those realms. And I used to hold back a lot of forgiveness because I thought if I couldn't enjoy their friendship again, I wasn't ready to forgive them. And it took me a long time to realize that it's not friendship that I'm trying to achieve again. It's the forgiveness. You don't have to be best friends with them just because you forgave them. Mm-hmm. For me, that was a big hurdle. Right. I don't know why it was like that. I had the same things with apologies. I used to not apologize because I didn't feel that I would never do that again. Whether it was my own lack of confidence that I was incapable to not make that mistake again or whatever, I would never apologize. And then I realized sometimes the apology is not for me. Mm-hmm. It's for the relationship.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, friends, family, spouses, kids, whatever. That was a big one for me. So then when I learned friendship and forgiveness were separate things, and you can forgive and be light and almost have like a professional relationship or a friendly relationship to where there's not outward animosity. It doesn't create tension in the presence of those people. Right. Yeah.
Is that the same thing as like friends and acquaintances? You know what I mean? Where you keep friends and there's acquaintances that you will sit there and you'll have conversations with. And there's friends, and then there's friends that become family.
Yeah, it might not be someone that you totally appreciate. Maybe they've done you wrong in really heartfelt ways or very terrible things, or, maybe it's cut you really deep, but the forgiveness takes the toxicity out of the relationship anymore. Mm-hmm. There's no angst built by hearing their name or seeing their presence or being around them. You can just exist with almost like a lightheartedness. Yeah. So when you're in that presence, it's comfortable. You don't have the anger. You don't feel the stress to go collect. You don't feel the pressure of the weight of that impact on my business. You don't feel the sadness from what they've done so many times. You've forgiven it. You've left it. You've put it on the table. You've given it back to God. You've done whatever you feel you need to do to just bring that peace back in your world. Just forgive them. They make mistakes. It's already happened. It's in the past, whatever common worldly terms you want to use. But that forgiveness gives you lightness, and you don't have to be friends. There's not extra prerequisites. That forgiveness is for you. It's for them. It's for the people that are around you, because I'm not a fun person to be around when I'm around people that I haven't forgiven yet. Mm-hmm. It's just toxic. And people that love me, they feel it even more. So
I get that.
Bringing that lightness into the place is
probably harder with people that you care about.
Oh, absolutely.
Family.
Yeah.
And stuff too.
Yeah. Because I did it wrong a lot.
You got a birthday coming up.
Yeah, my daughter. So that's what I was just thinking about. My daughter's birthday is on Easter Sunday this year.
Oh boy.
She was killed 9 years ago. She was killed on May 20th. Almost 9 years ago on May 20th. So she was born on April 20th, killed on May 20th. She's been 17 this year, and I don't know. I still can't forgive this guy. I don't know. And it's someone I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never met until.
That's a deep hurt. That's
In
deep
court.
in your heart.
So
Mhm.
Yeah, but I don't think that scar will ever go away. It's just
something I haven't been able to.
Honestly, it's understandable.
It's no fun.
How do you give advice to that?
I know.
How do you give
Yeah.
words to that
Yeah,
situation, man? That's a hurt that's deep. I'll pray for you. That's the best I can give you, man.
Yeah, she'd be 17 on Sunday.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna get my boys, and we're gonna go Sunday morning after church. We're gonna go to her grave and celebrate her birthday, as we do every year.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
go do something that she liked to do, or something that's like to eat, or something just.
Or that she would have wanted for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
For the family, yeah.
Yep.
No, after Tuesday, I told a couple of you guys earlier, but my brother, I got a call Wednesday morning. He had a heart attack. He's 48 years old. He had a complete blockage on one side. He had a pacemaker, and then had him in there. He sat all night long and said he just had heartburn. And then his wife calls me, and I'm cleaning grain at the distillery and milling grain in, and she calls me and was like, "Oh, I don't usually get this call." I was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Well, he had a heart attack and he's not doing too good. He's in surgery. They put a couple stents in to help open everything up. And then when they're putting the other stent in, some more of the blockage broke loose and tore some more stuff up." But he's still in the hospital. But right before I came here, 45 minutes ago, an hour ago, he called me on the phone and so had a conversation, but I could hear it in his voice. I was like, "You're hurting."
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, "Hey, just whatever you need, just let me know." And that's the same thing I told his wife, is just, "Hey, if you need anything, I'm only 8 hours away." I was like, "I'll be there in a short amount of time." So,
Well, we need to keep him in our prayers too. Then.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
so there's just a lot of things in the world right now that get heavy, and just like I said, I'm finding a lot more comfort in reading the Bible and listening to the Word, and I do a lot more listening in audiobooks and stuff like that than I do reading anymore. But either way, you're still.
Well, if you're on the road driving, it's hard to read. Right.
But it's a great time to absorb.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've told everybody too, when they're driving down the road and they feel like they need to pray, don't close your eyes.
No, the Jesus take the wheel doesn't take part.
I promise it ain't gonna work on that mountain.
That's a metaphorical statement.
Agreed.
Anyway, let's talk some more about these firearms we have here on the
So what we
table.
got up there.
Well, so this was the one I wanted to talk about. I don't know how you pronounce that thing, if it's Chiapa or Chippa.
I would call it Chippewa, maybe.
Chippewa.
What do you think?
So I guess fair statement. They're unloaded. They're
Yes,
safe.
They are.
They
We're not
are.
pointing them at anybody.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there. So I have no idea. I've actually not handled this.
So
It's a rhino.
Yeah, it's Italian made. Chiapa Rhino. And the neat thing about that is if you show the people on the camera that it shoots out of the bottom of the cylinder. So the barrel's actually on the bottom.
Is that good light? There you go.
There is no cameraman back behind the camera,
Yeah,
just so everybody knows.
You know, we're not pointing it at you on purpose, but just wanted to show you that. So now you can see, if you can see in there where the chamber is on that bottom side.
Man, just the
Down there.
design of that gun just looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
That handle, I was just admiring that handle with that dovetail kick out here at the end, or at the top.
It always gives you just a place to go with that.
Exactly, that 1911 grab, right?
Yeah.
Like it gets right up in there where you can get in there nice and tight.
The hammer is really unusual.
It
too, the
is.
shape
So
of
you
the
can,
hammer.
yeah. So this is a double action, so you can also shoot it single action.
Would you call that an anti-snack, maybe?
I mean,
Maybe
between
a little
how
bit.
broad it is and kind of,
Does it have
Like
a
a
decocker
stubby
on it or
for-
anything for being how stubby that is?
No.
Like,
But it has a flag. If you go to single, we're gonna have the other shut. And if you go to single action, you can see this little red flag.
Oh,
See
that's
Yeah.
that?
nifty.
It pops up there.
Hmm.
see if I can get an angle.
Looks pretty heavy.
right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
You can see it.
Oh yeah.
So that's the flag he's
So
talking
let you know,
about.
then you're in single action mode, which also the trigger, where the trigger's at, also
Sets
tells
back.
you.
Yep.
Yep, it's
You're
probably
ready
down
to-
to
that
3
baby's
pounds.
just-
You don't have the
Yeah.
bang.
That's a hair trigger now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't check the trigger pull on this one yet. I did go out and shoot it yesterday. The wife even shot it. So we're
She was
shooting,
telling me about that.
yeah, 357. So we shot 38 special. I didn't have any 357 shells. So you can shoot.
She probably appreciated that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little lighter recoil.
With that big old grip. That's a pretty good
Can,
size
can
grip
I
for
actually
that
see
pistol.
that grip?
Absolutely.
Is gonna fit your little.
And it's gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like
Yeah, for those of us with
Toys on
gorilla
there.
hands, yeah.
You
Those of us
see
that don't wear like
you see
30
those
size rings.
shells that are there? So see that little ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes with 3 of those.
Oh,
Little
handy.
speed loaders?
So you can
Yeah.
little speed loaders. You can load them up.
I'll be dipped.
And then you just leave them in there. That just goes right in there, and you shoot it
Really?
with that little.
You
moon
leave
dog.
the whole thing
Yeah,
there.
you leave that little moon dog in there.
I'll be.
Yeah, because then there's
Yeah, it'll fit.
the police speed loader where it goes in and you're supposed to just turn it
Yeah.
a little bit and it goes speeds all
then
the way through.
Yeah, you have that little knob. These
Yeah.
you just have all loaded up. And you just throw them in there.
Yeah, they're just little clips, right?
How's that sit in there?
Then you just have to pull them out.
You just pop them out by force.
Oh.
Yeah. They sit in the shoulder of the casing.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So I don't know if you guys, maybe
Yeah.
by the shine, you can see the
Nifty.
shoulder of the casing like a 45 ACP almost.
Yeah.
There's a little groove also cut in. And then inside here, it's just like a C-clip. And it just pops in that
kidding.
shoulder and then rests. So it'll align as it sets in.
Sweet.
Boy, that
Pretty
makes it a
neat
whole
deal.
lot faster to reload.
So what do you use this type of gun for? Just target practice?
Oh, you can do, yeah. So that's
Good.
the thing. That's the thing. So Rich here's new with
I don't
guns and
know
everything.
anything.
You want to
about
handle
guns?
this gun?
No.
There was no doubt in that statement.
I'm over here on the other side of it. My mouth is watering, my hands are my hands are getting switching.
No. Yeah. The biggest thing you always want to know when you're handling any firearm
Don't
is
know
just
how to handle them.
always keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
entirely up to you to determine which way is safe.
And
Could
make
be
sure
down, could
you
be
know the
downrange,
status
could
of
be
it.
up.
You always treat it like it's loaded, right?
Right.
But you still want to know, is it empty? Is it loaded?
Yeah.
What can you do with it?
Never
Because-
take a firearm from somebody unless you ask them.
Yeah.
Is that firearm unloaded?
I mean, would you take that hunting somewhere?
You could.
You could hunt with a
What would you hunt?
357.
I pack a 357. I got a 357 and a 44 mag and a revolver that I pack.
Mhm.
That I just
So
when I'm
so
up
you-
going fishing or whatever, I just like to have something in case of.
Mountain lion.
Mountain
Technically, you could
lion,
hunt a
uh,
whitetail with a 357.
Really?
There's usually barrel length
Yes.
limitations and such
Yes.
for hunting purposes.
Sure.
and grain of bullet. You
Yeah,
need to make
weight of
sure you
bullet.
shoot the right
And that's
weight.
simply because they're going for an ethical kill, right? So it's
Sure.
got to be strong enough. It's got to carry enough energy.
Sure.
It's got to be a type that would create an ethical kill. So then you can get really nerd level ballistics about terminal performance
we
and all that
can
kind of stuff.
actually go into that because, me and Dean have talked about people that I know don't think that you should run a self-defense ammo when you're carrying, when you're concealed carrying.
What's the difference?
So they're
between
using full metal
self-defense?
See,
jacket.
this is
terminal ballistics.
So full metal jacket is a lead bullet that's completely cased in brass.
Okay.
Or copper, maybe something
copper.
like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so when it hits a target most of the time,
Or
it doesn't-
monolithic.
It doesn't expand or anything,
Mhm.
and it goes through your target.
Oh.
So if you're shooting like animals or something, I've heard of several
goes
people.
right
that-
through.
Yeah, you shoot several of them at a time.
Yeah.
One bullet can go through several of them.
Yep.
Which
I
has
know.
a myriad of problems built
Yes.
into that.
Yes.
You didn't clear your target. You took a shot that you shouldn't have. You're using an ammo that for what you're trying to do with it is improper. And we can go down the list if you want.
Yeah.
But
So what you want is personal protection ammo, and
Uh-huh.
even for a rifle or for hunting, you want ballistical ammo that you want that bullet to, when it hits, expands
Mhm,
and creates a shock,
mhm.
and you want that bullet to stay within the body, or
Ideally.
within the
Yep.
animal.
correct.
Yep. Enters one side, sits in the hide on the other side, and dumps all of the terminal energy in that cavity.
Yeah.
That's what creates an ethical kill because it creates damage that kills them quickly, or at least as quick as possible for that
Correct,
application.
Yes.
So they don't suffer.
Yep.
Yeah. Like if you were to take a small caliber, no one suggests packing a 22 for self-defense, right? Like you can get shot in the leg and it might end up in your stomach
Right,
or
'cause
in
it bounces
your shoulder.
around.
All it does is just kind of works its way through.
There's some circles that call those brain scramblers
Absolutely.
because if you hit them here with a 22, it rolls around inside your head
Yes. Because it doesn't have enough velocity to go through the backside of the skull.
or mushroom itself.
What I can actually say, what I don't like about this is mainly like that they got the indicator light, the indicator for when the hammer's back. Well, the hammer goes right back forward again. I like watching the hammer
Right.
back.
That was a little bit
that-
different when I watched
That's
you do
the
that.
only thing. Like I love the feel of it, and I can't wait to shoot it at some point. Just because I want to shoot, like we talked about, to see the recoil being
Yeah.
down and how you're holding it.
Yeah, so if you think about that, the recoil on a standard firearm is above your hand, or where your barrel is.
Yeah.
And so when you shoot that BB, it's trying to go up all the time.
You've already got that control
Yeah.
already pushing down,
So
so but the gravity's already down, or the
So this barrel here
center-
being an inch and a half lower, is putting
Which-
it more into your palm or
There's
your
a
thumb.
there's a semi-auto that shoots like that too. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh golly!
What's the other one you have?
It's just a little Charter Arms 38 Special,
Okay.
and so it just has the
Great
barrel
for a
shoots
boot.
out the top of the cylinder as opposed to the bottom.
Sure.
Also unloaded.
Also, yes.
and then they make that one in a hammerless as well, correct?
So I'm just showing
Or,
you the
not
barrel
that
on that
system,
so they
bro,
can see
like
there's
the
nothing
same one.
shiny in
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
Just put it using the light.
Yeah.
But that one, like I said, you cock that one back, you see the hammer goes back, you know it's ready to
Mhm.
rock.
So as contrast, you see that the chamber's here as opposed to down here.
Okay.
So when you've got it in your hand, that barrel alignment is up here
Mhm.
as opposed to along this finger.
So it's going to want
So
to
it's
kick
gonna
back.
So that power
Right.
comes to raise as opposed to comes directly into your hand, and you can
Shave that off.
you could just peel that off.
Because it's a double
Isn't
action.
that
You pull the
modifying
trigger,
it?
it
Like
cocks it,
now
and
you're getting
shoots.
into
Yeah.
another realm of modification. Like,
Well, no, come on. Technically possible.
yeah,
Can't argue with that.
technically possible.
And then if you have this in a holster or something, there's people that would
Yeah.
argue this is you'll catch on things,
Mhm.
but
I show you that.
It's just a really
concealed carry
fun-
class.
really fun
Especially
little
when you're doing
shooter.
them in a
This
vest or
thing just
something, and there's
disappears.
just stuff
Like-
that can
Yeah.
catch on.
It's
looks
like a Derringer in your hand. It's a real pistol in mine. It's a little Derringer in yours.
Like,
You'd
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
you'd have
Two
to
fingers on the
yeah,
grip.
pretty much.
Does your finger fit in the trigger well?
Barely.
get the extended and do the Billy the Kid and the gunfire one where they cut off that front.
That's what, like the one that I carry is just a little. Not little. It's a 4-inch Taurus 357.
Oh yeah,
But the finger well where you stick in it's massive.
yeah. You can put a gloved finger in there, or you just a normal
can't.
one.
Yeah, just a normal finger
Yeah.
works for me.
Yeah.
No, like that,
So those-
that for me, that feels really nice, right? My hand covers it, right? My pinky's still on it, which is like I give a lot more pressure when I'm shooting pistols like this for my pinky to help
Offset the kick.
keep it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your pinky does most of the work with handguns.
Right. No, that's a sweet little thing. But it's the same as that other pistol. Like when I know it's cocked back, but it's empty,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I also drop it down, right, without having to fire. Like
Yeah.
this, same as semi-automatics of Berettas, right? They have that decocker where people start
Mhm.
getting used to it, right?
There's a lot of them actually now. Like CZ has more than one that has a hammer on it.
So I guess since we've got a bunch of 38s here,
But what do you usually carry when you're hunting, right? You're a 45 long Colt guy.
I carry a Ruger Vaquero. Yeah,
But
and
a
that's
single
mostly
action.
because correct. So I used to carry a 40 cal Springfield, and I was having to clean it so often because I'm usually horseback and the
Mhm.
dust, and it just drove me crazy that I had to clean it all the time. And then I was starting to doubt the dependency on it on the end of a long day and such. So I wanted something a little bit more not dependable, because I felt like that pistol was dependable. I felt like I was sabotaging it by exposing it to all the dirt in the way that I carried it, because I always carried it outside and it was in a holster that didn't totally protect
Mhm.
it. So I was kind of sabotaging its durability. However, that Ruger Vaquero, it's a nice, basic, simple, single action 45 long Colt. One round's going to put some real effort
Mhm.
down. And
A lot of energy.
there's pretty much nothing that's going to stop that thing from firing. So I can carry that multiple days. And because it's kind of open, Wyoming wind almost kind of blows it clear as well as it blows it dusty. So I just felt like for my application and my specific scenario, it worked better for me. And also, if you study ballistics on 40 cal and then you apply bear logic to it, people say it's not the right one. So
No.
not too many people argue with 45 long Colt. So I went that route.
Yeah.
So speaking of different ammos, so this is a 38, right? That fits in the little pistol.
Mhm.
So it also fits in this one. And the difference between, he had mentioned I shot 38 because I didn't have 357. It's almost exactly the same casing. That's why it still fits in here.
Yep.
It's just got a lot more hate in it. And the bullet is heavier.
Okay.
So you can make adjustments to all those things. These things are like, it might not be a good metaphor for you. I was going to say it's like horse tack. There's a billion different types, but
Yeah.
it's like vehicle modifications on a Jeep. Maybe that might be a
Okay.
better reference.
There you go.
You can do a million different types of things with ammo, right? So a 38 is a lighter round. It's a little bit less powder. It's easier to shoot. That's why I said his missus probably thanked him for that, because a little easier to shoot, right? Or you put a 357 in there and you start punching through cars and things like that. It's got a whole lot more energy to it. So that's a neat thing to have, because you can load both in the same gun. So you essentially have kind of two guns
Right.
in one.
Yeah, your target practice, all 38.
Yep. Cheaper,
Yep.
lighter, more fun.
And then shoot some 357 if that's what you're going to put in there.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to pack it before you go out, so you know how it
Shoot a
handles.
couple
Yep.
rounds with
100%.
Make sure you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I said, like anytime you want to go shoot, if you want to get comfortable with it, there's every person at this table right here will bring out as all different sizes and calibers until you can get completely comfortable in it. But like I said, we were all here to be like, here, one step
This
at a
one
time.
has a adjustable rear sight, where this one has nothing
Yeah.
adjustable. So if that one's shooting off, you have to figure out how to compensate.
It's
And
more than
remember,
likely it's you, right?
But in a barrel that size, it's this long.
yeah,
That's all the barrel.
20 foot gun.
You're not shooting ducks on the wing at 100
No.
yards
Right.
with that thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what this is for. You know,
Yeah.
you put this in your pocket, and most altercations happen 20 feet or less. That's pretty much what this is for.
Yeah.
You're shooting a man-sized target in under 20 feet.
Okay,
And
you're not looking.
You're not aiming.
You're not.
You're going to pull that thing out, and you're going to bang. Right?
And that's all. Be honest about this too. If it's under 10 feet, a knife is going to serve you way better than a pistol is.
Typically. Yep.
9 times out of 10.
Well, isn't that the rule of 20 feet though? You can pretty much close that same distance by the time it takes to pull.
Recognition, adaptation, and
Mhm.
conclusion.
You won't be able to close draw your firearm before someone within 20
Right.
feet can get you with a knife.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you
And
got to be aware.
That's
be
all.
alert.
That's always the distance, right?
Yeah.
That's shoulder
20 foot,
presentation
yeah.
of what's threat recognition,
Mhm.
right? Hey, if you keep backing up, you just keep that distance. If you can see
Mhm.
there's hate in their heart or there's hate somewhere, you can feel it. Just keep your distance.
And then another thing, the thing that runs through my head is the entertainment of knowing that anybody that watches this is going to have a completely different opinion, and they're going to argue all of our points
Yes.
We're all
and
gonna
all of
get
our
critiqued.
processes.
Yes.
And we're going to be the silliest people you've ever met in your whole life, and they feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
That's just
That's
the way
okay.
it works.
Well, that's why we're doing this, is
Yeah.
so they can create questions and
Yeah. Brings up conversation.
more, conversation.
Speaking of
and
questions,
discussions
Dean,
and
what's the full bottle over here?
the full bottle. So
Oh, boy.
the first thing we need to talk about is that alcohol and guns don't mix.
Here, here.
So
And
that's
live
why we have
ammunition.
no live ammunition here.
Right.
So we want to make sure that any of our podcasts we don't ever have
Mm-hmm.
live rounds. Even in a lot of the classes, well, all the classes I do,
Yeah.
we have no live ammunition.
Got live ammo and classes don't go good together unless you're on the range and
Mm-hmm.
on purpose.
So, but we can talk here a little bit about the Blind Man's Bluff. This is Blind Man's Bluff. It's not available through the distillery.
Nope.
I'll tell you a little story about how this come about. Here, you can open that if you
Oh,
want.
okay, sure.
'Cause, we may want to just sample some of that.
So this is
Oh, all right.
this is Pine Bluffs Distilling.
Dun, dun, dun,
Right,
dun.
It's
the great reveal.
Tell us a little bit about Pine Bluffs Distilling.
Pine Bluffs Distilling started in 2017. A guy named Chad Brown, casino investigator in Vegas, decided he wanted to raise his daughters in Vegas.
Fine, upstanding gentleman.
100%, and made a great move and got out of Vegas, and then came to Pine Bluffs, Wyoming, and decided that he worked on his uncle's ranch for a little bit, and then he came up with a business plan to start. It was a home brewer, and they wanted to start his own distillery.
Thank you, sir.
Started with some malting, and now we went through some barrel changes and some bottle changes, and all our grain is all grown within 15 miles from our distillery. I've been working there now for about 3 years.
Right up front.
It's all farm to flask, like it says on the bottle. We're very proud of what we do for our small little place that we do. It's got a good caramel, good flavor. Kelvin Cooperage barrels out of Kentucky.
I think those barrels have a lot to do.
100%.
With this flavor of whiskey. I tell you what, before I met Chad, I was not a hard liquor type of guy.
Me either.
And I met Chad, and we become friends with Chad. And how can you be friends with Chad if you don't, appreciate what he's trying to do?
Correct. But what we're
He's jumping the gun.
No, nothing. I was just going to smell it, but apparently I was way off.
Feel free.
What we're finding with our with our high elevation, right? So everything coming off the mountains, then we're in the plains out here. There is expansion contraction all the time, right? Like we won't rotate our barrels or anything like that. It's just we get expansion contraction, so our temperature changes. Will go from, like 2 days ago, it was 75 degrees, and then now we're sitting at 30 degrees,
and
right? snowing.
Yeah.
I was like, we get that all year long. So it's just expansion contraction, in and out of the char, in and out of the char.
You want me to read the mash bill on this?
Yeah, you can. That's fine.
So this is a 68% rye, 14% malted white wheat, 14% malt, and 4% oats. And it's got the barrel number on here, and then it's 58.78% alcohol.
So that's how many proof?
57 times 2.
Yeah,
Yep,
117 plus, or 100.
And that's 117 some change, right? So that's pretty much, we just dumped a barrel the other day, or 2 barrels, and that's pretty much standard right now. 118, 117, and then.
And this is a 4-year-old.
It's a 4.5.
Close to 4.5-year-old.
Yep.
So to tell you a little bit of the story.
Yeah, tell us a story
behind this.
so we can taste this.
Go ahead. Let's just,
No. I want you to tell the story.
The story's worth the story.
Come on now.
Okay, so my wife has some cousins that live down in the Denver, Colorado area, Denver and Parker. And they love Pine Bluffs Distilling whiskey. Nobody handles it in Colorado down there in their area yet.
Yet.
So they come.
You can get it online.
Yep. We're trying to get down there into some parts of Colorado. Probably starting in June, we'll start pushing that a little more. But anyway, they always come up here for when they have
already pushing.
Already pushing down there?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good. They always have little... sometimes they'll have musicians stop by, and then they'll do food trucks and stuff like that. They're events.
Corgi races.
Corgi races. Yeah, that's a fun time.
Mud volleyball, right? That's coming up.
That's coming through the town. Yeah.
And getting ready for a big Joe Pickett release. That's a huge event.
Yeah, we should probably
That's a
talk
big
about
one.
that.
Yep.
But we'll touch maybe on Joe Pickett a little
Yeah,
later.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, anyway, these cousins call me up and they say, "Hey, is there any events happening out at the distillery?" And I'm like, "No, we're going to have to make our own." And they said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, "Well, we have that opportunity that we can come sample however many barrels of whiskey you want, and we can pick a barrel." And so they said, "Hey, I'm all in. What's this going to cost us?" And I'm like, an arm and a leg. It's expensive.
Yeah.
When you buy a barrel of whiskey, it's $7,500 minimum, probably.
Yeah.
So they said, "Hey, I'm all in."
Get the label approved.
And so we all met up here one Saturday, and Chad had a whole list of barrels that were going to be close to 4-year age. And so we started going through and sampling them, or pulling them out of the barrels that we was picking. Had one guy with me, Derek was his name, and he was with us. He'd never done this tasting before. And I said, "Derek, do you want to pick a barrel?" And he looked at the list, and 104, model number 104, or barrel number 104 was available. He says, I want 104. That's the birth date of my dad.
Hmm.
And so we said, okay, cool. So we grabbed that sample of that, and we all go in and we sat down. I suppose we had 8 or 9 samples in there that day. And the 3 of us that were sampling and going to buy that barrel ended up with 104 at the top of all 3 of our lists. So it was a no-brainer. 104 is our barrel. And I was hoping and thinking when Derek picked a barrel, kind of hoping in the back of my mind that it was going to be his barrel. So his dad's birthday was 104, or it's 10/4, October 4th. His dad's dead, passed away. He was blind. I don't know how many years of his life he was blind, but quite a few. And Derek said, hey, if you could, when you get that done, could you put a blind man's cane or something on the label?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, yeah, we could do that. And then my wife's cousin came up with the name. Hey, why don't we just call that Blind Man's Bluff?
Just off the cuff.
Yeah.
Off the cuff.
Nice.
Blind Man's Bluff. So
Great
there's
name.
a story about
Yeah.
Blind Man's Bluff. I don't know the full story, but it's about a submarine.
Okay.
And I started doing a little bit of research on there. And I found a saying that's on the back label of the bottle. And it says, our strength lies not in our eyes, but in the fire that burns within. And 117 plus proof, there's a little bit of fire.
It'll burn within, at least the first time.
Burns within.
Yeah.
But it's so good, so tasty.
Allegedly.
Who can explain how you're supposed to taste whiskey?
So if only we had an employee of Pine Bluffs Distilling here
So-
that sold it,
Correct.
That'd
That
be really
does
helpful.
it for a living. So right now, it's anytime you take a higher proof whiskey or a bourbon or a whiskey, right? You're going to take that. Anything you had sweet prior to, you want to do a 3-sip rule. You want to take a small.
Well, here,
little
let's just all do it
Yep. You want to take a small little
Do
sip.
we smell it first, though?
Oh, you want to have
with your mouth open.
with the mouth open, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't got to be like gaping open, but
Hey, don't judge.
I'm not judging. I'm just
Especially with barrel proof, you want to dilute that
Right.
a little bit. Don't
So-
burn your olfactory senses.
Take a good breath. Then it's a small sip, just enough to wet the tongue. Take it,
I don't
let
think
it
I
let it
need
roll
3
across
sips.
there.
That's pretty tasty.
That one's going to be a little hot. Then let it sit for a second. Then it's going to be another sip, right? And after that, you're going to let it sit. Then another sip. Then you're starting to get some of those flavors, all that other sugars and stuff that you've had in your mouth and been tainted by other stuff. You're starting to get more and more flavors are starting to come out from that. So just little by little, start small, and then just your last sip, your third sip, you want to be your little bit bigger sip. But you can still take smaller sips. It's completely fine. There's no rules to it. It's just this is the way it is to make sure you're completely getting the full taste out of what you're drinking.
Right. And when you smell it, you have to make sure to open your mouth, or else the ethanol smell right off the top, if you keep your mouth closed, will burn just a little.
But that does not taste like 117.
Absolutely
No,
not.
that is
so
beautiful.
smooth.
Right? That is great caramel. Right? Like
I just love the flavor profile,
Right.
man. It just rolls. Man.
Jared comes and he helps us dump barrels and plays around there, and we talk about it all the time, and we just God, each
Teresa
bar-
calls me the stray dog, and I'm not embarrassed to say it
Oh,
out loud.
100%. We like full mouth, full tongue feel, right? There's their first part of your tongue. Some barrels will have your first part. Some barrels will have first and second, and then some will have a full tongue that they'll sit there and lingers on the back of your tongue, and you're just
Just like that. Yeah.
yes, it's just oh man.
But you can really taste the caramel in that.
Oh,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
You know, when you
It's
get
right
down
up
to that
front.
third-
It just says
third
hello.
sip.
It's the
Yeah.
greeting. Yeah.
But how many people have you guys all met that said I don't like rye whiskey or just this taste of rye?
I'm one of them.
Right.
I'm not a rye whiskey guy. If you put 35 popular ryes out in front of me, I might pick 1 or 2.
Correct.
One of the things that drew me to you guys is I'm a fat kid. I like sweet. I'll admit it. I'll tell it in front of anybody.
Yeah.
Your rye typically has a lot of sweet. So you drew me.
Right.
And then that flavor profile that just rolls, and blame it on the barrels, blame it on the barometric pressure, whatever game you want to play, keep playing it. I like it. So
It's
it
working.
just has a great
Rocket,
flavor
right?
profile.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the sweeter side of rye. I mean, it's not all peppers. It's not all
Mhm.
nutmegs. It's not all oof.
Right.
It's you get some sweets, and I mean, you guys even sneak in some butterscotches into your ryes, and it just rolls along, and that finish always has a real strong character to it. Not necessarily a strong flavor, but strong character. It's a clean finish and it's gone, or it's smooth and it hangs out and fades off like that Joe Pickett that.
Let's talk
Thank
about-
God I had a chance to try.
Let's talk about that Joe Pickett.
Oh,
So, the Joe Pickett is the C.J. Box best-selling author. The Joe Pickett series that you guys seen on Netflix and Prime and Paramount Plus and everything about the Wyoming game warden. So, Chad, took him about three years just to be able to just have a conversation to get Chuck to come out to the distillery. Well, he came out and they had some conversations, and then he is part of, with Jenny Gordon, the governor's wife, First Lady of Wyoming, for the Wyoming Hunger Initiative. So all the proceeds and stuff for the barrels and everything that we're selling, or the bottles and everything, are going towards the Wyoming Hunger Initiative.
Gotta love that.
Right?
and he picked 4 barrels.
So CJ Box, Chuck picked 2, and then Jenny Gordon picked 2.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me.
Yep. And so it is, barrel by barrel, then we tried them all together, and they are, like, you guys will taste it here shortly. It's outstanding. It's a rye bourbon, right? So it's 660 pounds of corn, 220 pounds of rye, and then 220 pounds of malted barley per barrel, right? So, and then it's all that 4-year-old product. It is it's a solid, good caramel, good color.
So
Even
so
at that, when we were tasting it right out of the barrel, just to make sure, like, got to do quality control. It was outstanding, barrel by barrel and all mixed together. We were giggling like school kids. It was just, the yield was good. The Angel's share, she decided she didn't want to take too much out of those ones, and I really do appreciate that. But Saturday, the 19th, the 19th, CJ Box will be at the distillery, signing autographs from 5 to 9, or 5 to 7, sorry. Autographs, books. If you got any questions, you want to meet him, want to shake his hand, please feel free to come on out.
there'll be merchandise. There'll be Joe Pickett bottles, limited to 1 per customer.
Yep, 1 per customer. We'll have other stuff as rye bourbon as well. Feel free to ask the ladies behind the bar to try all of our product, our wheater bourbon, our rye bourbon, our straight rye. We have a malted rye. We have a gin and a vodka. Our gin is not like your normal gin. It's very citrus forward. You're not getting slapped by pine needles.
That barrel-aged gin is good,
The
too.
barrel-aged gin. We aged some gin in a 5-grain whiskey barrel for a year.
A year. That's a long time.
So it's
To age it.
to age it, and it gives it that smokier taste. And I was like, we even got some just maple syrup with no alcohol in it that we get from Seldom Seen Farms in Iowa. That they age their maple syrup in one of our whiskey barrels, and put it on pancakes, put it on a pork butt, put it on pretty much veggies, whatever you want, bacon. It'll blow the doors off. You make a Manhattan.
And as the aforementioned fat kid, I'm a specialist in maple syrup. And that stuff, you could drink it from a cup.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yep.
Let me just throw this out there that this particular whiskey, Blind Man's Bluff, is absolutely wonderful.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's why we picked it.
well, I can clearly see why.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can come down if they want to buy a barrel.
For an incredibly reasonable price, too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my buddy's getting married in May, and his bachelor weekend was in Bardstown, Kentucky. So we did a bunch of tours and stuff. And I inquired about the price of purchasing a barrel for a bunch of other distilleries. And all of them were over $10,000 a piece.
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
So the fact that
We're about
PBD is offering it at,
$8,500 bucks.
Yeah.
Just roughly right
let's
along
call it
there.
85, right? Worst case scenario.
Yep.
You're still well short of 10.
So
And that's pretty reasonable.
we've got,
And you get about how many gallons?
depending on proofage, right?
Right.
So if the Angel share how much she takes, right?
So how many bottles you get at 100 proof most of the time? How many bottles do you get out of a barrel? 250 bottles?
No pressure,
No,
but
no,
give me
no.
the numbers.
So usually about when we were doing at 80 proof or 90 proof, we're getting about 110. No, sorry, not 110. 210, 200
Yeah.
roughly. right? You're roughly 220 to 190, 180, depending on what's in there and what your proofage is, right?
That's a lot of Christmas presents.
100%. So
It's a lot of customer gifts.
we have people that come up and they buy it for their company. And then all that has to happen is you come in, you have to submit a label. It's not hey, I want this barrel. Well, you call us up, you come in to pick out a barrel. Then you said we have to get the label approved through the state, right? We still have to jump through some state hoops. So you're going to go through, you're going to get your label approved. Then at that point, then it's yours, right? Everything gets approved. You guys come in, you want to bring some people in, help bottle. If not, we'll bring some people in to help bottle as well. We'll have
All
lunch,
the bottling's hand done.
all hand done from start to finish.
Yeah, there's no machines.
So after we take a barrel and we decide, yes, that's the barrel that we want, we're going to put it in a 250-gallon tote. And we're going to dump it in there, and we're going to leave it for at least a month.
Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Let those flavors start to come out. Those hidden flavors that are in there, let that oxygen get to it. And more, it's going to taste and it's getting richer and deeper in flavor.
It's just like a steak. Cook a steak, you let it rest.
Let it rest, yeah.
Cook a brisket or something, you let it rest.
You got to let it rest.
We all know
Do that
about
with
that
the
brisket.
Oh, boy, do we. This guy can cook some brisket. For a
I
nominal fee,
cannot.
he'll
I
do it.
cannot. No.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's
That tri-tip event of the distillery.
Yep.
Talk about cooking and smoking and cutting and...
well, like I said, if you get me with some whiskey and around the fire and some meat cooking, I'm going to dance. I'm going to sing.
There was a lot of that.
Music playing. Yep,
seen
good times were had. If there's little kids, I'd keep them out of the way for a little bit while I was singing, but it might hurt their ears. But it's a good tri-tip event, and that was actually a good segue into that, Jared. Thank you for reminding me of that one. So our tri-tip event was for the J Foundation, or also people known as the Yellow Feather. It's due for suicide awareness.
Oh, wrong hat. I had me a yellow feather in the other hat.
So anybody that doesn't know about that,
hats.
it is so the J Foundation. It is to give kids graduating high school cowboy boots. Okay, for free through the whole state of Wyoming. That's the goal. Well, it's all to be check in on somebody. Suicide awareness. Hey, check in and talk with them. Be aware of it. Call people up. Hey, if you got somebody, you're thinking about somebody, they're probably needing something, right?
Yeah, stop by, give them a hug, give them a handshake.
Give them a handshake, give them a call. There's how many people I've talked to I've had a buddy we were out hunting when we were kids, and he had his gun in his mouth. And I just sat there and I didn't know about it. I was sitting in the truck and I just called out to him and just started talking with him and be like, thought he was having a bad poop. Be like, I just, hey man, you all right? And he was like, that little change was what brought him out. And he came out and it took a couple hours, but he was shooken when he came out. But it's just a voice of recognition, of reaching out, giving someone a hand and listening to somebody. Doesn't mean all you got to do is be a shoulder to lean on, to listen, just be open.
And about that, don't think that you're too tough of a man to reach out if you do need to talk to somebody and say, hey.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody's got somebody in their head. When you start talking about conversations like this, you say, when you're in a bad spot, reach out. When when your mind's not at peace, when your demons are haunting or your brain's scrambled, whatever terms you're using, there's somebody in your head you're thinking,
100%.
I could call that person. And I know me, I'm always like, I don't need to ask for help. Just do it, man. Just call them and say hi.
Stubbornness will get you on it.
Pretend like you don't have any problems in the world and just call that dude and say hello. And they're going to hear it in your tone, man.
Yep. And
that guy's in your brain for a reason. Call that person. Or lady. I mean, boy, if it's a lady, do that too. Call that person, say hello, and let the conversation go.
You know what? Let's just go ahead and say this, that I think it's important that men as a whole get together like what we did right here.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be for nothing special for a podcast or whatever. Like get together with somebody, hang out,
throw the macho out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep feelings, everything. Like we're all mankind. It's just we're all under the same sky.
And let's why not talk to God a little bit more than what we all do.
It doesn't matter where you're at. Like what I like to do is what my dad always told me. He was like, hey, we're riding our horses up in the mountains. And you're like,
Oh boy, I find God in every moment in the mountains.
when I,
Isn't that what
I
you
love
said?
that. Yes, I love that.
when I can sit down,
I'm not there to elk hunt.
No.
The elk are gravy.
Right,
Just
right.
gravy.
just last year, I was sitting back and I was watching. I come over this little draw into this little valley, and there were 7 moose sitting at the bottom down there.
Mm.
And I walked down and through the trees, and I walked right to the opening of it and just leaned up against a tree.
Those
Well,
fast.
set my gun down, and I just sat there and I watched them mill around, and I just kind of just took it all in. Sun's coming up, crisp of the grass, trees got a little frost on them.
That smell.
Oh, then there's
That smell.
then there's
Oh.
then there a couple deer come walking across,
Yeah.
and I'm being like, I'm just standing there, not moving. I'm wearing orange. I'll be like, I'm visible as all get out. And be like, they're walking right at me, and they get from me to Jared,
Mm-hmm.
and they walk and they turn. 2 bucks and a doe at less than 5 feet. Just come walking by, but it's being in nature, accepting nature,
And opening your eyes.
opening your eyes.
God paints a beautiful picture.
He
Yeah,
does. If
he
you're,
really does.
But that's it. If you're always willing to listen, listening might be, hey, listening, looking. Keep your eyes open. Like in every walk of life, we're all going to town. Like I don't like going to town, but my hackles go up when I go into town because there's more demons in town than there are up in the country.
That's all this worldly noise, right? All these materials around you distracting you, and they're well designed for it. And you go to the mountains, and it's just God's word.
It's raw.
The smell, the sound, the
pictures-
sight.
The pictures
pressure.
that man can paint.
Oh.
I'll tell you right now.
Sunsets when the sun's setting and you're just sitting there waiting, and deer and elk are starting to walk out,
Oh yeah.
and it's pinks and reds and
Oh man,
blues.
Or like just as like that little picture that you just described, and then all of a sudden, out of a corner, you hear the elk bugle for
yeah,
the first time in the morning,
and it just rings. And
That
crackles.
is what is beautiful.
Hair stands up on the back of your neck, and it's
Yeah.
just like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
You don't want to shoot anything, or you're going to scare it all away.
Oh, that's right.
Like
You don't wanna ruin it.
why don't mess up the painting? Like but like I said, those are those times and those moments that you will remember for your life. And I go there was times in Alaska that I had the same thing. I
Oh man,
have a whale tattooed on my leg from a whale swimming underneath my boat to my anchor line, the size of my finger, not quite Colton's finger, but my finger,
You know,
there's a ship line right there. I've seen them.
and ballerinas around a rope, just like it's just nothing's even standing there, and it was only 10 feet
you
under the
notice
surface.
big things are graceful.
Allegedly.
Just watching that whale ballerina around that anchor line still to this day, I will wake up in the middle of the night and just seeing that. And just there's certain pictures in life that you walk through that
They're
will
imprinted.
they'll
Yep.
always be there.
So I always say, and it's not a me saying, it's just a saying I've heard, and it's wonderful, but being in the mountains is my church. And that's not to say that church at home isn't church or isn't good enough or is some type of lesser.
Closer
No,
to
it's
God.
not that at all. Being in the mountains brings me to church just like a good conversation with your pastor or a good Sunday morning. It brings me right to God in the same type of strength. So that's why I say it's my church, because it's not just that building that I go into with those great people and that fellow up front that tells a wonderful story.
Same as
It's the fact that I'm immersed in just his grace, just his design, it's all him, man. And if you could be thankful for that, oh boy, I can paint you some pictures. Because you'd be on horse. I got to give just this one. I was working with my buddy who's a pastor. Lots of blessings there. I'll tell you that right out loud. He was training his horse. I was training my horse, and we were riding, God, I don't know, 8 hours that day. We were putting miles in, and them horses were just hitting it. It was one of those days where, like, oh boy, so much to be thankful for. Horses were doing great. We were doing great. The weather was great. There was just so much greatness to be thankful for. And we're clipping down these Forest Service roads, and we pull through this cut that had been forested out, cut all the timber, brought the side down, and we come clipping through here. And I was like, hey, it's time to take a rest. Why don't we swing over here and at least enjoy the moment? He also happens to be blind, so he can't enjoy the scenery, but he enjoys all the other senses that are there. So I said, hey, there's a great view over here. We're going to swing over here and stop. And we roll over to this edge, and I know that it just drops off. And we pull up to the edge and stop. And man, I hit the stop. His horse hit the stop, and they did a perfect stop. And we're sitting in our saddles, and the horses are just breathing light, and them heads are down low, and it's nice, and it's 65 degrees, and it's beautiful sun. And we look up, and it's Medicine Bow Peak in the distance, snow capped with that gray rock, you know. And the horses are happy, and we're happy, and it's like I was overwhelmed with the things that I could be thankful for in that moment, and it imprinted immediately in my mind. And it was just, I think the reason it imprinted so heavy is because I recognized how many things I was thankful for in that moment, you know. And man, that's just in my head. It's amazing. There was no materialistic noise. The only noise I heard of man-made garbage was my horse's tack jingle a little bit when he kind of twitched a fly off his ear. And that was it. Yeah. Everything else was natural. I mean, there was a raven that flew over and you heard the of his wings because it was silent. And I was like, oh man.
Isn't that crazy how God works? Like he can imprint something in your head so fast that will last there forever.
I wrote a song about hunting once. Maybe if I get my guitar out someday, I'll strum it and you guys can sing.
I'm not
Betwixt the five of us,
singing, brother.
We could get everybody to stop watching this thing, I'm sure. On that note, I think dinner's ready.
Yeah, I'll keep working on you.
But I know a couple people.
I do know a really good singer.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
We can get that sorted out.
I even sent her to singing lessons.
What? Oh, hey, yeah.
My middle daughter,
Yeah.
I actually told her, I said, you need to start going to Dean's Church and go up there singing.
Yeah, why not?
And everybody's welcome to come sing.
I told her, she goes, no, I can't do that. And I was like, you sing out loud all over this daggum house every day.
All by
every
yourself.
day.
Yeah.
I love the kid to death.
I'll
If
see
I
that
hear her
Wednesday-
sing
Wednesday.
one more time in the house.
I think she was there Wednesday night, wasn't she?
Youth
group?
Yes, she
I think
was.
she was there. Yeah, so I'll see her at all.
Start
start working
nudging
on
her
it.
shoulder a little bit. Yeah.
Boy, it sure would be nice if I heard you sing.
She was really good. Like we had her. I've sent her through singing lessons. Kenzie can play the piano really good.
Oh, hey, that's good to
boy.
know.
I'll tell you
I
what.
love listening.
That's a
to
great
piano.
When she turned 15, I said, "Hey, you should be like starting to play Still Dre." And she did, dude. She got it right down pat, and she's strumming it out, and I was like, "Yes!"
Oh,
Great balls of
2000
fire, man.
2001 called. They want their song back.
Yes. Yep. But Mackenzie is very good at piano, and we have a piano at the house. So if you corner her and you tell her, "I want you to learn this, this, and this," and come play it Sunday, I bet she'd do it.
Get that worked out. Anyway,
Hey, guys.
we should probably start wrapping this
We
up.
probably should wrap it up.
Should we talk about Teresa's bottle?
Well, you can. I just probably not on a God night. Maybe
Well,
I'll-
it's yes and a no, right? Like I'll go a quick once over on it. So, in our Pine Bluffs Distilling, Chad and his lovely wife Teresa found out she had breast cancer. So she is an amazing woman. She is a trooper. She is strong, tough as nails.
she wasn't worried about it.
She wasn't
She
worried.
was not. No.
She was just like, I've got this. But that comes back to her faith and her stance as well, right? Like she is awesome. Well, what we come down with is we decided to do a barrel, or Teresa picked out 2 barrels. One was a wheated bourbon and one's a rye whiskey. And as you can see on the front of that there, like it is not for the kind ears. If you are sensitive to language,
right.
plug your ears now. But for you that's not, it says "fuck cancer" because everybody thinks it, and then now we just put it on a bottle. It's not on the shelves. It's just it's pretty much it's all going to help pay for some bills, and yes, just support and just be there. So she's through with it. She's through a lot of it. She's getting some reconstruction, everything done right now.
She's in the heart surgery.
She's in the
now.
heart.
Yes.
She's in the heart.
And that's
side
where
of things.
prayers are welcome.
Yep. I go. It's just you guys. Please throw some prayers out for her. That'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah,
what this bottle is here. And then we're going to try to do that every year and try to get some people that went through or going through some cancer to pick out barrels. And then
I like that idea. I really do. I really like that you're going to go through every year and pick. Yeah, that's a really good thing.
That's some of the thoughts and stuff that we're throwing around. It's just we want to keep paying it forward as much as we can, right? Because everybody's going through it. It's rampant through the whole world now.
You know, and you were talking about Teresa she wasn't worried about it, right? And
She was the tough one out of all of us.
Oh boy, you ain't lying.
I took Chad home one night and I was sitting there and I'm like, dude, you're gonna start stepping up a lot from what you're doing right now, son. And Teresa's like, I'm just over everybody talking about this daggum cancer. I'm over it. And I was like, it's really hard not to talk about. Like, and then I started crying, you know, and I was like, you can't not address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared thinks it's me, but it's not.
So
metaphorically speaking, okay.
when it was all found out, when they all found out that she had cancer, is I drove Chad home and we stopped outside the house and we called Dean.
Yeah.
And we had him on the phone and we decided to pray right there. It was
Great idea.
because
Absolutely
Great.
he had to walk into his house and talk to his daughters. I was like, I was like, brother, I was like, I honestly, I don't know. I had words. I was like, and then so I was like, Dean got on the phone and
Dean
said
is a
prayer for
very,
giving strength
very intelligent man.
and then honestly, it got,
I've never thought that.
Good.
Never
We
thought.
did, we did talk about humility earlier, right?
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So,
It's a strength.
Yeah.
but yeah, other than that, it's,
Let the glory be God.
yep. There's a lot of hard roads in life. You can take it with a smile or you can take it with a frown, but either way, you're still walking down the road. But like I said, if you have faith, it's either going to
Keep your head up.
keep your head up.
Yeah.
It's like
Keep working.
you got one road or another. It's all road out for you already. You take it with a smile or you take it with a frown. It's just, but the road's still coming.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep your chin up, as Jared says.
Dean, would you like to lead us out in another prayer?
Absolutely.
Please.
Father, just thank you so much for this evening, and just thank you for these men that sacrificed their time away from family, away from friends, that have driven miles to come here just to be a part of this tonight. Just thank you so much for the conversations we've had. None of this was scripted, Father, and you just kind of just put words in our mouth. And I just hope that it's been enjoyable. I hope there's been some takeaway from it. And I just pray that if all those that have heard us and those that are amongst us, that we would just have learned just to look to you for guidance and strength and wisdom and knowledge in everything that we do. What we have is yours, and let's just figure out how to use it in a way that can glorify you. I just ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.